Everyone should really stick around for this. The guy has been making indie films for over 35 years. He's helped jumpstart the career of people like Eli Roth or James Gunn, who did the Dawn of the Dead remake. He's helped, he put out Matt Stone and Trey Parker's first film, Cannibal the Musical, you know, the guys at South Park. So everyone, Lloyd Kaufman, please.
We tried to put something in our movies to have something for which someone might buy a ticket. Maybe monsters. There are people who will buy tickets to see any monster movie. There are people who will bootleg any monster movie. There are people who will rent every single monster movie. But romantic comedies, you can have nobody buy a ticket. You can have nobody bootleg those movies. You can have nobody rent them unless maybe Julia Roberts is in it or some other movie star. So we try to put something in the movie. If we put a gun, you put a gun in a movie, people are going to look at that. They look at the screen when there's a gun, right? They sure do in real life, I know that. But in a movie, they do the same thing. So if you make a movie with a gun, chances are someone will buy a ticket or rent it or bootleg it. And even if you're making a movie about raccoons in the nature, put a gun in the hand of the father raccoon, chances are someone will buy a ticket. So low budget, have something in the movie that for which someone might buy a ticket, and then try to be as original and as heartfelt as one can with that in mind. Try to make the most original. There's no purpose in, this is not an industry to make money in. This is an industry to make art and to make something that's meaningful to you, the artist. We've been able to achieve a kind of a brand or a cult following. So a lot of stars have used Troma to train. A lot of directors, aside from the South Park guys. James Gunn, who has a new movie called Super with Ellen Page, and Eli Roth has been involved in our movies, and Eli Roth also did the commentary track for DVD on for Bloodsucking Freaks. And Stan Lee, who created Marvel Comics, has said that I've put, in the same way that Spider-Man put a new face on the comic book hero, the Toxic Avenger, a character that we created and made movies. The Toxic Avenger has put a new face on, or put a new face on the movie superhero, and that Toxie's an underdog. He's a straight shooter, takes care of his mother, has problems keeping his job, is true to his significant other, doesn't really have the trappings of a Superman type, and of course very low budget. The Toxic Avenger, by the way, is a very historic film in a number of reasons, but in one in particular, it's the only movie in the history of cinema in which a young boy's head gets squashed by the wheel of an automobile, which in 1983 was, you didn't see that every day. Now you see it in the streets every day, and I think Steven Spielberg's doing a head squashing scene. You know, every movie's got, Julia Roberts, I think, did it a couple of times. But in those days, that head squashing scene was pretty amazing. The first Toxic Avenger was made in 1983. And the budget was $80 million. No. It was It was about $450,000, which is still a pant load of money. But in those days, that was considered very little because we didn't have digital. We didn't have the digital format. Now, cinema has been liberated for the first time, and really, you can make your own damn movies for almost nothing. The democratization of the making of movies is wonderful. Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead, which was my most recent movie, was shot on 35 millimeters, so that was about $500,000 back in 2007, I guess. And if I didn't have to shoot on 35 millimeter, it would have been much, much, much less. And now with the digital, I'm sure you all know about the Red camera and the Canon cameras and all this generation of amazing digital cameras that are really consumer friendly. I don't think we need to shoot. Even I, who was in my second book, I have a big argument that I still want to shoot on celluloid, but now the digital is as good as or better than celluloid, except for the fact that celluloid has the third syllable of Lloyd. We distribute some movies that cost between $10,000 and $50,000 also, and that's not to say we're making any money, but they're getting out to the public, thanks to the internet and word of mouth. So we do have some really micro-budget movies, too. It is very hard to distribute movies on your own. We do it. We do our own distribution. So what the point I was trying to make is that very hard to get to the public. But if you have something good, public will find it. If anybody wants to make a movie in New York State, the film commissioner of New York State is excellent and is very, very nice to students and independent filmmakers, and also happens to be my wife, and she's very, very open. And you know, if you film in New York State, you can get back in cash 30 to 35% of your budget. They write you a check. So I have not used this. I have not used this. This started around 2004 or 2005. But there are incentives so that people will come to New York. New York State will, if you fill in all the paperwork and have proper accountings, New York will pay you back 30 to 35% of your budget. Our movies look very spontaneous, and there is a lot of spontaneity when we get to the set, but there's a huge amount of preparation, and it takes months and months and months before we get a script that we're not too embarrassed to show to my wife. What we do is very logical and simple. It's not rocket science. The individual thing is not very difficult. It's difficult, but it's logical. Anyone can do it. And I think that's probably maybe the most important lesson that Tromeo's 35 years or 37 years of filmmaking is that if we can make movies with people getting their arms ripped off and hard-bodied lesbians and 600-pound men having bouts of explosive diarrhea on screen with singing and dancing Indian chicken zombies, if we can do that and keep going for 35 to 40 years, certainly what you want to do is more than possible. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson that you can take from this, is that almost everything that we have done in our movies is common sense. It's all common sense. The most important element, though, is safety to humans. And then the second rule is safety to people's property. If you're using somebody's house, take care of it. And the third rule is much smaller writing, is make a good movie.
Thank you very much, Lloyd Kaufman, for coming out. If anyone is curious...
Wait a minute, coming out? What are you talking about? Yes, I already said it. You're right. I'm sorry.
If anyone is curious about, Lloyd Kaufman's films or his books, he's got a great DVD series called Make Your Own Damn Movie, and several books. It's all over there, so check it out. There's a bunch of stuff for sale over there. And I hope you'll come back again. And just
well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your attention. And I hope that you will all make your own damn movies.